So that's what is this pthread is. So pthread something extensively I use, and it is always going to be there in my code as long as I do any user space code, because mostly I work on network stack and stuff like that. I do have various threads, managing various functionality of my user space network stack. That includes even mostly my Toffee code as well. Okay, so you can see there, and in this example is creating an array or a bunch of pthreads. I think so. Yeah, pthread create, and then he's binding this API, and 3 pthreads, and why this is just one end of pthread. I'm not sure, he must have created a small array like stuff. Anyway, I'm not sure. I generally don't do this way, so I don't want to much discuss, but anyway, hope you got an idea. So this is how you spawn. Let's not compare this with multi-processing, because it's completely different. Either you fork and create multiple processes, or in my case I don't do that way, but I can create some multiple instances externally anyway. So as you can see, it is somewhat similar to that. Okay, so what we do is we do a quick compile, and I was just playing around before shooting this video so that everything works fine. Okay, so you can see there I can do of course a make, and it compiles, and of course I'll attach this code as well in case you want to take this forward and then add something and do your tests. See, as you do this insmod, and what happens is it invokes this inside tasklet. So which means as I did in insmod, this had triggered this, and then it is running this. So the main advantage is it is treated like a sort of thread inside the process, inside the kernel code flow. Hence that you can create that asymmetric flow and asynchronous flow and stuff like that. So that's the main thing, where you can almost emulate like threads inside your kernel source. Okay, your kernel programming. So we take this as a basis. So what else we can try is, say for instance, we can allocate we can define some global variable, say int a equal to, or int a. We initialize this variable somewhere here before this tasklet schedule. So we do some tests with this. Okay, so a equal to 10, and inside tasklet %d, and we can print that value of a. So what you can do is, as you print it here, since it's a global variable, of course I need to do some if I do multiple tasklets, I need to do some scheduling, which I need to do some locking, which I'm not doing it. But anyway, hope let us just do a simple example. See, I'm doing this, and then I'm incrementing a. So in case if you do another time, if you call this, it's going to increment that value of a. So for that reason, perhaps we can add some two statements, so that 2 iterations it is going to call that tasklet handler. If you don't do that, only once it is going to call, and we don't have anything to trigger that. Okay, that's the issue. Okay, so we can use this in conjunction with netlink sockets and stuff. So I have done extensive netlink video episodes on not just netlink, it is about this net device and various other stuff. So if you are pairing that with some sort of a packet capture, then we can do some sort of a network packet parsing and all. You can just outsource to this in the form of tasklets, then you do this in a separate API. So it will be good if I do some sample code, but this video I don't want to do. Okay, so anyway, we just do that, and we just compile this rm mode, and we just do a make, hope it gets compiled, and we do an insmod. As you see here, we have this print, and we don't have that getting called once more. Okay, it has got this, and then where is this? Let me just do an RM mode, and since it's a kernel code, simply we can't just use some sleep or put some sleep. It is not possible. Okay, we can just emulate something to add some sort of a delay or something. I'm not sure. Tasklet handler, say for instance. Of course we can add some timers and all that stuff, but I don't want to do and complicate. It gets quite complicated. Okay, let's see if I can do something plus AA, and we are getting this tasklet handler. All I want is some multiple prints of that. If this is completely not working, then I have another choices. I can pull my proc code. I can just put the proc code, and inside I can add this. See, this is my old video episode on proc interface. So something like this, I can merge this code into that, and then we can make it into a more effective tasklet demo. Okay, if this is not getting triggered, because I'm not sure, you need to add some time or something like that. Okay, so let's just see what. Let me just do one more trial. Okay, so make RM mode. Let's do an ins mode. It's just calling once, so I need to just see why it is so. Okay, I can do a proper way where we can couple that tasklet trigger with respect to one of these operations. Then it makes more sense rather than doing that type of an example. So what I do is I'll just copy this code and merge to the existing code, so we have more meaningful sample. Okay, we just copy these two lines, and what we do is we link it to this module init, and then we have this fops and all that stuff. We again copy this whole thing, and then we can copy paste somewhere here, and then module exit to remove that proc entry. So there I can add this as well. So before after this tasklet skill, I can add this stuff. So now what we do is what we have is we have this proc file we are creating, and in the proc file creation, every time a proc file is read, it is printing this stuff. Okay, it is putting these bytes into that, it is setting these bytes into that buffer. So what I can do is, instead over here I can perhaps link this API over there and see how it works, because something like this I used long back, but that is with respect to packet processing. So it is something completely different. It is kind of inside the core network stack, and it is something like that. But I felt, let me just play around. If it works, it is interesting. I can show a meaningful demo. If it is not, it is still fine. Hope you will get some rough picture. Okay, so you can see there we have this proc, and as each time proc file is read, it is doing this tasklet schedule. Okay, yeah. So before that, I can also check this tasklet schedule. You can see there test and bit and so, and we can just search generally tasklet schedule. See, tasklets are scheduled via tasklet schedule and so stuff. So this is what generally a tasklet schedule is. Okay, see, the reason I like taking videos like this, unlike I just give that flow or something, is as you do coding, you should understand you are not a master of everything. Your work is to do that code and get that as a part of a requirement to address that, not that you show some your talent and stuff. So I don't want to sit here myself saying that I know everything and stuff. So this is how I code, and quickly I learn something, and I focus about my objective is my code for my clients or for myself, I focus on that rather than too much bothering about whether I have that skills to show you people or not. Okay, this is not the way I handle. And same thing when I take classes as well, I have the same approach. I never kind of claim that I know something unless I have something conclusive like this to show. I don't ever claim. Hence I'm saying even I'm not sure I have done long back, but the overall idea of tasklet is you can defer it, and it is closely similar to user space threads is what conceptually I can able to get it. Okay, let's see how far we can utilize in our sample code. So I hooked up here instead of here. We see this time what it does. Okay, we can just do a make, yes, and we can do an ins mod. Hopefully it works, and you can see there something. We go here and we go to the proc file. As you see, this is the proc file. It is supposed to create because we have registered that file with that name. So cat, this has only the read permission, you can't do a write. So you can see there instead of cat I can do xsd because I'm outputting a binary output rather than string output. So we do that, and you can see now the tasklet works. Okay, so I can do once again this xsd, which means I am doing a binary read. See, xsd is similar to cat command. Okay, if the file is a binary file, if you want to read some mp3 file, jpeg file, something, you can't do a cat command. Okay, you just need to use some xsd or something like this, or you have a compiled file like we have this kernel module. See, we have this kernel module. How do you copy, I mean how do you do a cat of this binary file? So use your common sense, you use xsd. Okay, so you get this binary dump. Sometimes you can do any search or this thing grep of any labels, API and other signature and stuff. Okay, you can do that. So quite extensively I do use this when I need to do some reverse engineering, hacking and stuff. Okay, so you can see there as you do each time the proc output, you get this tasklet getting executed. So this is my right intent. Earlier it is not working, perhaps because we are calling this as soon as this API call we are immediately calling. Perhaps it is the reason it is not working. I'm not sure, I'm admitting, but this is what it is. So this way you can link this to any of that existing flow, hence it is used in conjunction with this soft interrupts and stuff. So you can read further about the tasklet. So my main intention is you understand the whole big picture and the way you can use, and like I showed in the sample, you can see there you can, from here you can branch out. If you want to do some specific packet level processing, you need to you need to parse some incoming packet or something. You just hook there, and as the packet comes push it to the global buffer somewhere, and then call the tasklet so that it will be handled exclusively when it has enough time. So what I heard is tasklets have more priority than user space processes. Somewhere I read in this LWN or somewhere. You can search priority. Yeah, you can see there since they run as software, they have a higher priority than process on the system. So which of course we can understand. This is running in the kernel space, so they have much more precedence than just user space processes, which it can defer. So hope you got some flow and a big picture. Before I go, I just thought to show my small flute collection. In that small part is this panpipe which I got. This I got when I was on a trip to US somewhere. So this is a nice panpipe. This has some sort of a Native American theme, and I think this one I got it online because I'm not finding it in a store where I visited, and then I got some couple of other instruments along with this. This is called as Kuzo. This is an interesting instrument. Before that, I can show a small quick demo of my pan pipe. The reason I kept it on my desk is I kept it somewhere inside, and it is somewhere inside for couple of years. I never able to find it, and then today I just figured it. It is inside some box, and then I picked up, and I was just playing and having a fun. So this is how a real pan pipe looks like. You must have seen many kid variants, the small plastic ones, but this is how it is. You get much bigger ones. This one, since I didn't play it for a long time, I can't play it properly, but I can just give a try. So this is how it sounds. So I need to sit properly, and I need to expand my lungs, and lot of things are there. Since I'm not playing flute these days, I'm not getting that holding that breath and stuff. So you need to practice a lot, and the main thing is the sound will get much deeper and richer as you practice. Since I am not doing it regularly, what is happening is it is coming in this dry sound. But this one is an interesting one. This is something which you want to start with any wind instrument, even before you go to this bansuri or Indian flute or something like this. I highly recommend you can get it. It is just so cheap. I think I got it in some dollar store, or there is another thing called Cracker and Barrel. Somewhere I got this. This is quite interesting because you can just quickly get to know, and you can start playing. See, I can try a tune of this Pink Panther movie. It comes something like that. So something like that it comes. Of course you can try various variants, and I was testing out in the night. I can just close this finger, which I am not supposed to do, and I am also checking just trying to blow this end, which again it is not supposed to do, because you are supposed to do in this side. This is the mouthpiece, and the air have to come out of this end. Okay, so hope you got some picture on this kernel tasklets. Of course I could have discussed more on this work. There is this workflow or something. There is work queues and various other things I must have discussed, but I thought let me just restrict, and we can just have a quick view, and we get this sort of overall big picture. So if you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.